Hey yo, how's it going everyone? Entropy here today with another video. Today is gonna be a quick recap or a thoughts ramble of my journey on JP. So if you're interested, stick around. We're gonna be talking about my I guess approach. I'm gonna talk about my experience comparing JP and Global, what decks I played, and other quick thoughts and remarks as it pops up in my head. So yeah, okay, so where should I start? I started JP 5 days ago, 5.5 days ago, because it's the evening right now. I started in the afternoon, but it was a smooth experience. We got really lucky with the reroll. Like, we didn't need to reroll because we pulled a GR really early on, so that really solidified that I really wanted to stick with Gear Chronicle and stick with the account that we have. And after all, rerolling isn't great content, it's not fun to watch. So the first thing I really wanted to do was, get packs, hoard packs, spend packs, and that included, getting through the G missions, getting through the story, getting through the OG era story as well, and doing all that. So definitely go through the new G era story character fights. They're a lot easier, and once you grind them, you can actually unlock these keys, which then, when you unlock, gives you more gems and more packs, which is definitely very, very helpful. So you can net a lot of gems here, and adding them up, because you're a beginner, you really need to have a solid base to actually succeed in this game. You can, I guess, theoretically get ahead in and grind through like a Cray Elemental budget deck, but it's gonna take a long time. So at the end of the day, card quality and like having proper cards is important. And I just, whenever I had 100 gems or packs, you watched it, I just spent it immediately, because I know if I have a proper deck right now, and I just, at a certain point I start saving, then I can actually, gradually invest and move forward with it. So I guess secondly is to focus on specific clans, and I'm saying plural because the gacha dictates what you play, right? Like, you can go like, I just want to play Gear Chronicles, but that's not how it works, especially when you can't really do that many character fights for Gear Chronicles, So in this case, my approach was, I wanted to play Gear Chronicles, but I needed an extra. I needed an extra option. And when I'm opening the G set 1, your extra options are Royals and Kagero. And, so I chose one of them, and I used that as my second deck. So I chose Kagero. Reason being is because I think it's easier to complete. It's easier to pilot as well. And you need less old stuff that is hard to get. What I mean by that is because new accounts, you get forced super decks essentially through logging in and doing missions. And even though the super decks aren't really relevant at all, it does give you some core pieces like Berserk Dragons or Bellicosities or Strike-ins that you can choose to play. And when you don't have an option, these cards are definitely really amazing. In contrast, like the Royal Paladin super deck is pretty garbage. It's Jewel Knights. It doesn't synergize at all with the Altmile stuff. So it is a tough cookie to play. But if you do, character fights and grind out stuff, I guess it could work out. But it is considerably harder in my opinion. So in terms of ease of completion, in terms of your approach, it's definitely Kagero and a Royal Paladin and Gear Chronicle kind of side by side, being a little tough cookie. But another thing is Gear Chronicle does have the Start Dash campaign. So you do get a free Chrono Gen, you do get a free playset of PGs, and all that definitely really comes into play because I only have 2 at the moment. So one free one is huge for me. What else? We also have 100 OG packs. I pulled garbage, but at least they're matched, right? So I focused everything on Kagero, and I got matched for Kagero. I didn't craft anything yet, but hypothetically I could have crafted a Stride or crafted a Blade Master, and that could have definitely really helped on my journey. So I guess let's talk about my score. So right now I actually played like 2 games after I got to Legend 0. So the profile might not be entirely the most accurate, but it is close enough. Yep. So let's see. We have 72 wins with Gear Chronicles. I main Gear Chronicles. This is how I went through my main playthrough, I guess. Royals, I won 2. One just now because it was a mission. And Kagero, where's Kagero? Kagero, I won 8. So it was a backup, but it didn't really get me that far. Generally speaking, because I mean, a lot of people wanted to see Gears as well. So when I was streaming, I was focusing on Gears, and you know, my packs kind of geared me towards this path as well. So yeah, but I definitely think that Kagero is a really great place to start as well, and definitely a very solid pick. Yeah, I haven't participated in other ranked seasons. Totally, I think 80 wins to get to Legend 0, which is quite nice. Early on in the ladder, you get 20-ish points, a lot of bonuses because everyone you play is higher ranked than you. You play a lot of bots. You play a lot of bots and then bots and the bots until around C or B, where you're actually playing real people, and then that is when the ladder is actually mixed. So one misconception that people have is that when you're at rank B, for example, you only play against rank B people. Well, unfortunately, not that many people actually play this game at the same time, so it's just a mixed bag. It's random, right? So I could be playing someone from like top ladder. I could be playing people with like ChronoJet rewards when I was only in rank B or rank A and stuff. So it's definitely the positive is that I win more points, I lose less points. The negative is more often than not, unless I get lucky, it's kind of hard to win and pull the win out of the rug. So yeah, that's do your G missions. Of course, you can reset them with stamina, which really helps because when you're a new account, especially on the OG story, it's really easy to complete. Get more stamina, get these done, which means more packs because you can exchange packs, and more gems because whenever you rank up your G grade, you get 50 gems or something. And that is, what else do I want to say? This gives you gems as well, so that's really nice. Crafting, I actually didn't craft. I crafted some comments, but that's basically it. But I guess let's just talk about the lists and let's talk about it. So this is the deck I played like twice only. It's bad. Again, Outmile doesn't really have synergy with, you know, it's hard to play if you don't have all the G stuff, if you don't have a playset of the triple rares and stuff. Knight of Twin Swords, I believe. It's hard to play. It's not that good. Ignore it. It's trash. Next up we have Kagero, which I got 8 wins with. And gradually I got 2 Blade Masters. I got the Cross, which is a really strong deck, might I say. Definitely gave me some trouble. And one Mustafa, which is really nice because it's a main phase retire. It's also SP, which is nice to flex, but I don't have an extra. And on hit, retire 1, which is alright, I guess. But overall, again, this deck incomplete. It's hard to play. But overall, you know, Conroe helps you fetches important stuff. Helps you fetch a Strat Fodder if you really want the Blade Master. So it's quite nice. But my MVP is obviously gonna be Gears. Gears, this is my list right now. I played this Grade 3 Searcher, like not the 5k GB one with the pseudo resist one. Reason being is because we don't have all the Grade 3s we want. So I really want to be able to get into ChronoJet because ChronoJet wins games. If I don't get ChronoJet, it's real struggle street. Being able to on-stride Karamas 1 return something and get one more attack in the face is so important. And definitely really helps. Even if you whiff it, you know, that's fine. That's 1 extra soul because the deck needs soul. And if you hit another grade 3 non-chronojet, well, you know, at least it's Stride Fodder, and that's fine, I guess. For the grade 1, we play 4 PGs. It's free. That's really good. We play 4 of these, 7+3s, again, because we don't have all the grade 2s, grade 3s we want. These units help us scale up and actually attack when we need to. So helps really well, especially when you have guard restrict turns like with ChronoJet, that blocks out PGs. Having an extra 10k booster or whatnot helps you hit 26k numbers, which actually forces your opponent to ping out 2 heals. So that comes in clutch sometimes, and it's something to consider. You know, some other synergies. But yes, You know, with this, it's like a 21k column, for example. Soul Blast 2 draw 1, very, very nice. You know, helps you actually build up a board. The deck does require a lot of soul, but that one draw is very fantastic. Paired with this Great Researcher, I can actually draw 1. I'm on turn 2, so even if I whiff, I have one more shot of getting a Chrono Jet. And that's very, very valuable. And for the last grade 1 slot, I have the Stride Fodder. When I only had 2, I lost considerably a lot more. When I had 3, I won a lot more. Like when I pulled my third one around like A rank, A1, I zoomed past S and 2 Legends. So these Stride Fodder is very, very important, especially when striding it every single turn is very key, or the option to stride is very key. And not having a playset of Chrono Jets really hurts. So this card really nice buff as well from the TCG. You don't need to discard a grade 3 anymore. You can discard anything. So super good. The grade 2s, I really like this card. I don't remember the name, but it's if you're Vanguard's a Chrono Jet, GB1, Soul Blast 1, Counter Blast 1 to return something, and plus 2k. So it's an 11k beater by itself. A lot of the meta right now is Gears mirror matches, or like Kagero or Royals or Narukami or whatever, and all these clans have really good removal. And so your back row, you know, sometimes you don't get to work with them. 11k by itself hits numbers really well. When you're removing front row intercepts, this you could remove 2-1 a turn. You really need to scale up, so pairing this with something like this hits 21. So you, for example, have a 14k, 21, and then 26, and you hit those really nice numbers, and you have 3 shots to the face 1 turn, and then that's basically game. You know, all you have to do is just exchange a few blows, and then that's it. Very key card. Next we play 2 of this. And again, about the mirror matches, a lot of decks in this meta have retire. Resist is so important. Guard Restrict comes into play sometimes. Counter Blast is expensive, but the most important thing is the resist aspect. So if your opponent's a Blade Master, if this is the only intercept, your opponent can't remove it. Your opponent's playing Chrono Jet as well. Your opponent's Chrono Jet can remove it. And so you kind of, just amazing card. Very nice. I wish I could play 4, but I only have 2. Next we play Counterchargers. Countercharger, it's quite nice, especially because I'm playing the 4K Grade 3 Researcher, and I really like using it on my first first opportunity. So I could just use the Grade 3 Researcher, and then on hit, this unit as my Vanguard, and then I get the Countercharge and refund it. So it's nice. Countercharge is nice because every single Counterblast means 1 removal when you're on Chrono Jet. And you do have one crazy gimmick that requires Counterblast 4. Next we play 3 of this. Counterblast 2, return something a grade 2 or below to the bottom of the deck. This card is really flexible. When you miss your Chrono Jet, you really need to keep this. So whenever I don't have a Chrono Jet on my turn 2 turn, I never ride this. I ride something else, for example like this instead, because even if we miss, well, we still want to maintain that aggression. We want to steal games, right? Even if it's not meant to be. Counterblast 2 removal still gives you that 1 extra shot to the face, can win games. And lastly, we play 1 of this. It's a great guard restrict option. Soul Blast 1 is really cheap. If you really want to set up the Legion, you can use this even when you don't really need the guard restrict to just set up your drop zone. In addition, it is a Legion mate, so that's really key. For the grade 3s, again, we've mentioned how important this is. This is the livelihood of this deck. Chrono Jet Dragon, GB2, when it attacks, plus 5k. And then if your opponent's Sentinel activates, they must discard a grade 3 or above. If not, your opponent's Sentinel does not activate. So this is the typical guard restrict that global players will recognize. This is really important because it makes playing the deck require a little bit of brain cells, because you sometimes don't want to stride just for the GB2. You sometimes, need to stride to hit those numbers to beat over the heal triggers. So you really need to count your opponent's cards. You need to, think about it and choose which way to go, because both can be win conditions. And then in addition, when you stride, Counterblast 1 to choose one of your opponent's rearguards and put it to the bottom of the deck, which gives you an extra swing, which is really nice. And on place plus 3k, this is especially vital when you're going first. When you're going first, it may seem like you're at a very big disadvantage when playing in G, because your opponent gets to stride on their first turn. But that extra 3k makes your Vanguard a 14k number, which means that with a 5k booster maybe, you hit 19, so you're guaranteed to push 2 damage if you build up one more front row intercept. or something else. So definitely don't underestimate the extra 3k, 14k numbers, bullies, 9k vanguards. Not a lot of people play 10k vanguards these days. So very, very nice, and something to consider is to choose to play the 10k vanguards. But anyways, Legion. On Legion, return one thing, and on attack count +1, return something plus 3k and return a grade 1 or below. Count +1 removal is nice, plus 3k, helps you at 23k numbers. Even if you're not in Legion, you can still use the second skill. So again, if you're going first, you can use the skill, hit 14k numbers, and bully those 9k vanguards. Being able to push and apply pressure is very important, and so this actually comes in handy. We play 4 of this, whatever, honestly bad card. GB1 on attack count +1 to guard restrict grade 0s. So again, another guard restrict option. Sometimes you want to go into this when you know your opponent exhausted their PGs, so that is an option. And on plays count +1, so +1 to return one grade 1 or below, or whatever, really whatever. Sometimes you can return starters, but you know, that's basically it. And then we play 2 of the crit trigger. I play 2 because I only have 2. I haven't tested more than 2, but apparently 2 is the magic number. You know, it's great when you defensive check it, you get to draw a card, which is nice. And when you offensive check it, you get to push for damage. Sometimes it gets in the way with your plays because you have some on-hit skills, but overall it's really strong. On attack, if your Vanguard is a grade 3 or greater Chrono Jet, put this into your soul, draw 1 plus 5k. Helps you at those numbers, especially when you're on your GB2. Maybe you need to scale up because your opponent can still use heal triggers. So you want to hit those magic number like 26 or 41 maybe to avoid those heal triggers. And of course, when you're striding, of course, sometimes you want to hit over those numbers as well, which is really nice. But I'm never too picky about it. I just want the draw, so I can get more options next turn during the main phase. So we play 4 heal guards. There's no reason not to play these, especially when gear doesn't really have a lot of options. And it's really amazing. You know, it makes me feel less bad about drawing into these heals because I do draw into them often. Next, we play 2 of these. I just forgot the name. My bad. But it does on attack count +1 G persona flip. Opponent cannot use grade 0s, and if you have 2 or more open in the G zone, you get an extra crit and return a unit from your opponent's field to the bottom of the deck. So one very, very big play that I learned around like A was I can use this skill on my turn 1 stride, right? Because then I can immediately go into Chrono Jet next turn, choose not to stride, and have the guard restrict, and I can push for game sometimes. Because first of all, people don't expect it, and you know, most people don't actually mulligan and keep their heals. Most people keep their sentinels, and most people get greedy and want to stride for cheap, right? So most people won't actually keep the grade 0s and grade 3s. Most of them keep the sentinels, but the guard restrict just smashes through and it steals games. Sometimes, of course, it sounds like a desperate attempt. It really is sometimes when you're super behind, but it is an option. Sometimes when you sack early with crits and whatnot, you know, if you see your crit or if you build up a board, your opponent doesn't, and you just get your magic numbers in, first stride is actually a possibility. So don't underestimate it. The guard restrict by itself is solid, and it's you know, it's about having your options. Of course, if I had 4, that'd be amazing because I can still do those shenanigans and still have a threat on my next turn. But I guess it is what it is. You know, GRs are hard to come by. Next, we have Chronos Command on hit, so +1, count +2 to return everything to the bottom of the deck. When I started this account or this game, this was the only triple rare that I had, and it was the only like big move that I had on my stride turn, so I used it often. But is it really that good? It's not. Like, it's probably a one-of, or just drop it as soon as I have something else. Do I use it frequently? No, not really. I'd rather have my other on hits, vanillas. I'd rather have this, or maybe even the Chronicles 1 + 10 really, because Chronicles 2 is really expensive. You have other ways of removing the board through your grade 2s, through your on stride skills. It's not that amazing. So yeah. Next, we play this on hit, return something to the bottom of the deck. This is key You know, I use this generally as my first stride target because we can remove something for free. Even if your opponent's at 5 damage, I choose this as my strike target because even if my opponent heals, at least I get to, you know, do something, remove something on the board. So then it's a harder time for my opponent next turn, which definitely did come in handy sometimes because 6 damage heals do happen. And so very, very nice SP as well. You know, on these on hits, generally speaking, I didn't really expect much from them, but you know, getting rid of back throw seems like it's quite valuable right now. Lastly, we play Meme-Street Flare Dragon. Now this card might sound like a meme, but it actually procs more often than not, right? So its skill is on hit, counterblast 4, check top 3. If there are 3 different grades, you can get 1 extra turn, and if you miss, countercharge 4. So it's basically a free activation. If you flip 3 different grades and you get that extra turn, you know, it's a great way to come back from games. It's a great way to just win games outright. And don't underestimate it, because even if you miss, well, you just get the counterblast back and you get to do something else. Sometimes when I'm at 4, I heal out of it. If you've been on the stream, you see this too often. Or you crit and you don't get to hit because you proc the PGs and all that. So be mindful of that. But you know, otherwise, it's very nice. And I'll explain, you know, like right now I play mixed grade 3, grade 0s, like 7, 6. Because one thing is because you prefer the stride over the stand, you know, which is pretty garbage. The grade 3s are nice, and because I play this starter, which checks top 5, not check the entire deck for whatever grade 3 I want, so having more grade 3s is value. But also because Meme-Street Flare checks top 3 for 3 different grades, so having, you know, more different grades is very nice, and makes it more consistent. And yeah, I play it at 2 because more than 2, you know, you're not gonna proc it more than 2. If you tried it twice and you whiffed, then I think you're about to die anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, I think overall, when you use it, you really need to check your deck. If you ran out of grade 3s or grade 0s already, the chances are really, really low. But if it's your first stride, if it's your second stride, there's still a chance. But yeah, sometimes, yeah, I guess so. And lastly, we play this vanilla counterblast 1 plus 10k. The reason why this is actually a valid option for gears is because you have a lot of front row removal options. So Chronojet counterblast 1, you have these counterblast 1, you have these counterblast 2. So there are turns where you just get rid of like 2 front rows and you go 3 to 6, right? So 1 rearguard, and Vanguard, right? And if your opponent sees multiple defensives, you might need to hit over the stage to actually hit your opponent. So this is something that can be considered. Did I ever need to use the counterblast 1? No, not really. But it is something that I've considered. It is a possibility, and definitely could come in handy rather than another Meme-Street Flare or yeah, because everything else I only have 1 of. So that is basically it. Ideally, what would I change if I had the perfect deck? I'll play 4 of these. Get rid of 1 of these. Maybe test out the Soul Blast 1 countercharge ones instead of these. I'd still play this. I think I'd still play this. Honestly, it's a really good starter. For the grade 2s, I play more of the resist. I play 4, and I probably drop 1 of each of these. Countercharge is still solid, but you don't really need to see it that often. Like once or twice a game is all you need. The counterblast 2 just in case you whiff the Chronojet, which is less likely if you have a complete deck. I play 4 Chronojets because Chronojet good, so I'm going to be climbing Lank Rider for that. 4 Legions, so 8, and then probably play this at 1 or 2. I think that's basically it. For this, I play 4, maybe 1 of this, so 5, maybe 2 of this, and then 1 of Meme-Street Flare. I think that's basically a comfortable list. You know, maybe I'd even drop this for Meme-Street Flare, but it does come in handy. That one option is solid. So that's basically my list. That's basically how I got to Legend. Just work it gradually. You know, I started from scratch. I started with I don't know. I started without a Chronojet, I think. Maybe 1. Started playing this deck without PGs at all. And just grind on the train. As for those who don't know, in Ontario, our train system, it's really rare that we get data. So I would just go to the challenge fight, and I just play these because you know, once you log into a fight, you don't need internet. So every single one is 20 gems. 5 means a pack, and a pack means a chance at hitting a GR or a triple rare or at least double rare or you know. So it really helps. I cleared like 2 pages of these, so definitely at least like 4 or 5 packs off this, and it adds up. It definitely adds up. And that's basically it. So that's basically it. You know, and I guess last thing for those who are still here is, a lot of people ask me, right, how do I feel about JP and global? Honestly, you know, it is the same game. It's just JP is ahead, right? Do I think JP players are better? I can't answer that, right? Because I'm just like, you know, is the JP more competitive? You know, that's what I keep hearing, right? That's what I keep hearing, but I don't necessarily find that the truth or the case from my experience. Again, I only played 80 games. No, I only won 80 games. I probably played more than that, like 150, maybe. I don't know, probably, I don't know, 100, at least 100 games, I'd say, you know, comfortably say. I played 100 games. I don't necessarily think that JP players are stronger than global players. Of course, it's not really representative because it's a very small sample size. But from my experience, I still see, you know, I still have experience with bots. I still have experience with VP farmers. I still experience with misplays. And it, you know, I think I think the overall feel is that, you know, JP play is just ahead of its time. So maybe JP players feel like, you know, they've already experienced global, so global is easier. I don't know, that's my interpretation, but really, I don't feel like there's a big difference in terms of, you know, player skill. Maybe like the super top rankers, maybe they're playing at a next level, but global has some very amazing players too. And I definitely, from this experience so far for 5 days, whatever it's worth, I definitely think that, you know, I think I wish that you know, both servers could interact more, or interact at, you know, some degree, and show some recognition for our players on both sides. JP definitely does have more official play than global, and gets more of the spotlight, in my opinion. So yeah, that's basically it for this video. Moving forward, I really don't know, or I really didn't know if I wanted to keep doing JP content, because I felt like I had a really, you know, I had a goal, right? I had a goal to get to legend. I had a lot of fun, which is why I grinded a lot, but I didn't expect it to take, you know, I didn't expect it, you know, to get there so fast. Making content is hard because the gachas are challenging. Even right now, I spent probably like 50, 60, 70 packs. I don't know if I actually grinded that much, but, you know, I'm still nowhere near close to deck. So it is tough. It is very, very tough to keep up, and you know, it takes time to play both servers. So my intention was to play JP casually, but I will try to make content for both servers. It's just that I can't, you know, feasibly make deck profiles because I have standards, and I don't want to show incomplete or trashy decks and try to justify it out of my way. So yeah, that's basically it. I hope you enjoyed. If you want to see more JP content, if you have any ideas for JP stuff, let me know down below. If not, then maybe I'll stick with like live streams and stuff. But I'm really glad, one last thing is, I'm really glad to hear a lot of other global players or other people that maybe never tried Vanguard 0 give it a shot, and let me know about it, because it makes me feel nice to well, you know, show and get other people on board with the fact that it is possible. It's not impossible, clearly. And some of you guys even went to Legend before I did, so major props to you for outgrinding me and showing that it's possible, and Legends never die. So that's basically it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you have any questions. I'd love to discuss with you guys, but yeah, like the video if you liked it, I guess, and subscribe if you want to see more. But enough rambling from me. I think this is already a 30-minute video. I hope you have a good evening and enjoy the rest of the day at the channel. Bye.